I stood on the second floor of the studio building, looking down through the plate glass window. My wife, Chloe, was lying in another man's arms, dressed in a dangerously thin slip dress. The man held a camera in one hand, his face pressed close to her ear, whispering something that made them both laugh. It was a private boudoir studio. I recognized the man instantly. Caleb Hayes, a photographer with a minor but growing reputation in the industry. His Instagram had blown up recently, and a lot of influencers were booking him for shoots. My knuckles were white where I gripped the wooden railing, the cheap pine groaning under the pressure. Chloe, my wife, said something else to Caleb, and they laughed again. Her smile was so natural, so sweet. It was the same smile I'd fallen in love with 8 years ago. "Sir, this mop bucket needs new water." An employee's voice broke through my daze. I pulled myself back, nodding. "Right. I own a large photography studio nearby, and had just signed the lease on this upstairs space for an expansion. Construction was still underway, so I've been stopping by every day to check on the progress. Today was no different, except for the gut-wrenching scene playing out below. "That light fixture over there needs to be adjusted," I said, tearing my eyes away and pointing for the contractor. My voice was unnervingly calm, as if I were discussing what to have for lunch. I knew I had to act completely normal. If I didn't, I was liable to storm down there and wrap my hand around that bastard's throat. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Chloe. "Hey babe, meeting up with the girls for some shopping. Might be home late." I stared at the screen for a few seconds before typing back. "Okay, stay safe. Take an Uber." I slipped the phone back into my pocket and walked to the window, forcing myself to look down again. Caleb had changed position. He was now squatting on the floor, getting a close-up of Chloe. This time, I didn't look away. I was going to watch. I needed to see just how many seductive poses my wife could strike for another man. I met Chloe 8 years ago. I had just opened my first studio, and she was a college student applying for the front desk job. It was pouring rain the day of her interview, and she'd rushed in, the hem of her dress soaked through. But she was smiling, telling me how much she had always loved photography and how badly she wanted to work here. I remember the way her eyes lit up when she said it. That raw passion for the art reminded me of myself when I was younger. The rest of our story was simple. We fell in love. She graduated, and we got married. Everything went smoothly. My studio grew into a major business. After we were married, Chloe quit her job to be a full-time homemaker. She said she wanted to take care of me so I could focus on my career. I spoiled her. I never let her worry about bills or the daily grind. I gave her a generous allowance every month so she could buy whatever she wanted and live the life she desired. I thought that was the purest form of love. Until today, I remained disturbingly calm for the rest of the afternoon. It wasn't until dusk settled over the city that I finally drove home. On the way, I passed a flower shop and pulled over. "What can I get for you?" the young clerk asked. "Roses," I said. "Red ones. 33 of them. Wow, is it an anniversary?" I managed a thin smile. "No, just wanted to surprise my wife." When I got home with the flowers, the house was dark. I flipped on the lights, arranged the roses in a vase on the coffee table, and then sat on the sofa, staring blankly into the night. I don't know how long I sat there before I heard the lock turn. "Honey, I'm home." Chloe's voice was as sweet as ever. "Oh, you're back early today." I gestured to the flowers on the table. "For you." "Oh." She rushed over, her face a mask of delighted surprise. "What's the special occasion?" "Nothing. Just felt like buying you flowers." I held her gaze. "Did you have fun shopping today?" "I did." She bent down to smell the roses. "They're beautiful." "Oh, speaking of, I bought you a new shirt. Here, let me see if it fits." I let her undress me and put on the new button down. Her fingers were long and slender, her touch as gentle as when we were first married. "Perfect." She stepped back, beaming. "I knew it would look great on you." I looked at my reflection in the hall mirror. White shirt, black slacks, a placid expression. "It's nice," I said. "So, where did you end up going?" "Just the Galleria with Mandy." She launched into a bubbly, detailed account of her day. I listened quietly, but my mind kept replaying the scene from the afternoon. The way she lay in Caleb's arms. The way she looked up at him and smiled. It turned out she was more than capable of giving that smile to another man. "Landon, are you listening?" She looked at me, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. "I'm listening," I said, snapping back. "You said you guys stopped for bubble tea, right?" "Right." Her mood brightened again, and she continued her story. I reached out and stroked her hair. It was a habit of mine. Whenever she got excited talking about something, I'd do it. But this time my hand trembled slightly, because I suddenly remembered. That afternoon, Caleb had done the exact same thing, gently stroking her hair as he took her picture. That night, I didn't sleep. At 3 in the morning, I lay in bed, listening to the sound of Chloe's even breathing beside me. Moonlight filtered through a crack in the curtains, falling across her peaceful face. She looked so innocent, like a child. I remember when we first moved in together, she was a terrible sleeper, always kicking off the blankets. Every night, I have to get up and cover her again, worried she'd get cold. Now, she slept soundly, barely moving all night. Why had she broken that habit? I couldn't believe I hadn't noticed. I slipped out of bed as quietly as I could and went to my home office. Opening my laptop, I started searching for Caleb Hayes. It didn't take long to find his professional website. It was filled with his work, mostly sensual, intimate portraits. I had to admit, the guy had talent. His composition and use of light were distinctive. Scrolling down, I found something interesting in the comments section of his blog. A woman had written, "Caleb, do you think my husband will be mad if he finds out I came for a shoot?" His reply, "Don't worry, we're very professional here. No one has to know." Another comment, "Caleb, I'd love to do a really sexy shoot, but I'm a little shy." His reply, "No problem. Send me a private message and we can chat." I screenshotted everything. A little more digging revealed Caleb had a separate, more personal Instagram account where he posted suggestive behind-the-scenes clips. It was all just content of him with female clients, but it was laced with uncomfortable innuendos. He'd suddenly hug a client from behind, claiming it would create a better feeling for the shot. Or he'd gently lift a woman's chin, saying he needed to find the most beautiful angle. The comments below these videos were full of women calling him handsome and a true gentleman, but I could see it for what it was. The man was manufacturing intimacy. He knew exactly what his assets were and how to leverage them. I searched for any negative press. Sure enough, I found a few buried articles. Anonymous sources accused him of having affairs with married clients, but his lawyers had managed to quash the stories every time. This man was far more dangerous than I had initially thought. I rubbed my temples and glanced at the clock. Almost 5 a.m. The sun wasn't up yet, but I had no desire to go back to sleep. I sent a text to my assistant. "Kevin, I need you to do a deep dive on Caleb Hayes. Find out everything. I especially want his studio's booking schedule for the last few months." Kevin replied almost instantly, "You got it, Landon. I'm on it." I put down my phone and lit a cigarette. The smoke curled in the darkness, a perfect reflection of the turmoil in my mind. I needed more evidence, and until I had it, I had to act like everything was perfectly normal. "Let's see how long my wife can keep this act up." "It's because I'm worried about you," she cooed, a playful pout on her lips. "Besides, I'm your wife. Who else am I supposed to take care of?" I looked at her smiling face and said, completely out of the blue, "Business has been great at the studio lately. Why don't you come back and help out? Just like the old days." Her expression froze for a fraction of a second before melting back into a casual smile. "Oh, I don't think so. You know I'm not cut out for the 9-to-5 grind. And besides, you have Kevin now. He's way more capable than I ever was." I nodded slowly. "True. Well, if you're bored, you could always pick up a hobby. Maybe photography." This time, her reaction was more pronounced. Her fingers trembled, nearly knocking over her water glass. "I lost interest in photography a long time ago," she said, looking down at her plate. "I'm happy just being a homemaker." "Is that so?" I said, my tone thoughtful. "I seem to remember you used to love it." "That was a long time ago." She stood and started clearing the table. "People change, you know." I didn't say anything else, just quietly finished my stew. Yes, people certainly do change. Just like you. From a bright-eyed, innocent girl into a woman who is now full of lies. The next day, I overheard 2 female employees gossiping in the break room. "Have you heard of Caleb Hayes? That boudoir photographer who's all over Instagram." "Of course. He's gorgeous. All the influencers are booking him." "Well, I think he's hooking up with another married woman. My friend saw them on a date at a coffee shop." "For real? What did she look like?" "My friend said she was stunning. Dressed head to toe in designer clothes. Looked like some rich guy's wife." I walked past them, holding my coffee mug. I heard their hushed gasps behind me. "Oh my God, Mr. Carter." Back in my office, I pulled up the booking page for Caleb's studio. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, Chloe had another appointment. I opened the live feed from the camera I'd had installed across the street. Sure enough, she arrived right on time. Today she was wearing a classy beige dress, the picture of elegance. But once inside, she changed into a sexy, black lace teddy. Caleb said something with a grin, and she looked down, feigning shyness. Then she looked back up, her eyes smoldering with a practiced allure. I closed the laptop, taking a few deep breaths. Not yet. It wasn't time yet. I had to wait until I had enough evidence to utterly destroy them both. At 7 that evening, Chloe came home. "Landon, you're home early again," she said as she slipped off her heels. "Work wrapped up for the day," I said. Where were you? I took Mandy to the spa, she said, fluffing her hair. She's been so down since her breakup. I figured she could use a friend. I walked over to her and leaned in, inhaling deeply. New perfume. Her body went rigid. Oh yeah, I saw it at the mall today and loved the scent, so I bought it. It's nice, I said. How much was it? I'll get you another bottle. It wasn't too expensive, just a couple hundred. Is that the new one from YSL? I cut in. I think Caleb's studio smells just like that. Her purse slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a dull thud. What? What did you just say? She stammered, her voice shaking. I said, I bent down and picked up her bag for her. Your perfume smells exactly like Caleb Hayes' studio. My new office is right upstairs from his. I smell it all the time. The color drained from her face. Landon, listen to me. I can explain. Explain what? I interrupted. Explain why you're doing boudoir shoots behind my back. Or explain why you've been lying to my face. She threw herself at me, wrapping her arms around my waist. I'm so sorry, Landon. I was wrong. I just want to take a few pictures as a keepsake. A keepsake? I laughed, a cold, bitter sound. If you wanted pictures, why didn't you ask me? I'm a photographer, in case you've forgotten. I wanted to surprise you. She sobbed. And you've been so busy lately. So, you went to Caleb? I grabbed her by the wrist, my grip tight. Did it feel good? Posing for him in his arms. A violent tremor ran through her. You saw. I saw plenty, I said, my voice dangerously low. Every flirty glance, every intimate touch. I've seen it all. She finally shattered, collapsing to the floor in a heap of tears. I'm sorry, Landon. I really know I was wrong. I swear I'll never see him again. Please, just forgive me. I looked down at her, my face a stone mask. Do you really think you deserve to be forgiven? I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. She clung to my leg. It was all Caleb. He kept hitting on me. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have cheated? I shook her off. So, you're blaming him for seducing you? Then why didn't you turn him down? Why did you go back to see him again and again? Enough. I pulled a file from my jacket pocket and threw it on the floor in front of her. Those are divorce papers. Sign them. With that, I turned and walked toward the door. No, she screamed, scrambling after me. Landon, don't go. You can hit me, you can yell at me, do anything. Just please don't leave me. I pushed her away without looking back. Let go. I won't. She gripped my shirt, her knuckles white. Not until you forgive me. I stopped and turned around, enunciating each word with chilling clarity. Chloe, do you know what I hate more than anything in this world? She looked up at me, her face streaked with tears and mascara. I hate being lied to, I said. You can fall out of love with me, that's fine. But you don't get to lie to me. Every single day, for the past 2 months, you've come home and put on this performance of a loving, devoted wife. Aren't you exhausted? It wasn't a performance, she insisted desperately. I do love you. I had a moment of weakness. Enough, I said again. Let go. Let's just end this cleanly. No. The tears flowed faster. Landon, please, just give me one more chance. I'll do anything you say. Please don't throw me away. I watched her, my heart a block of ice. This woman was once the center of my universe. I gave her the best of everything, and this is what I got in return. Fine, I said suddenly. Her eyes lit up with a flicker of hope. Really? I'll give you 3 days to think, I said. 3 days. If, at the end of that, you genuinely believe you were wrong, then we'll start over. I know I'm wrong right now, she pleaded. Then use the next 3 days to think long and hard about who is more important to you. Me, or Caleb Hayes. I turned and walked out the door. Her cries echoed behind me. Landon, I love you. I swear I'll never see him again. I didn't look back. She had no idea that those 3 days weren't for her. They were for me. I was going to make them pay the price they deserved. After leaving the house, I checked into a hotel. Lying on the unfamiliar bed, I felt preternaturally calm. I suppose I'd been suppressing my emotions for so long that I'd gone numb. I opened my phone and scrolled through the evidence I'd been collecting. A month ago, Caleb had posted a picture of a coffee cup on his Instagram story with the caption, "Interesting people always find each other." A dozen comments tagged him, asking things like, "New muse, Caleb?" and "Wonder who the lucky lady is." The coffee cup in a photo was from a specific artisanal shop that Chloe loved. Scrolling back further, more clues emerged. On May 20th, Chloe said she was going shopping, but she was actually at Caleb's studio. Security footage showed her there for 4 hours. In early June, Caleb attended a gallery opening, and Chloe was there too. They were standing in a corner, laughing, their body language intimate. I had saved every picture. I pulled up a video file. It was an audio recording from the hidden microphone in his studio. Does your husband know you come here to see me? Caleb asked, his arms wrapped around her waist. He's busy launching the new expansion. He doesn't have time to worry about me, Chloe said playfully. Besides, if I don't tell him, how would he ever know? Does he know how hot you are? Caleb whispered in her ear. I bet he's never seen you look this sexy. Stop it, she purred, tapping him lightly on the chest, but making no move to pull away. I closed the video. If I watched any more, I was afraid I'd lose control. My phone buzzed. A message from Kevin. Landon got it. Caleb's planning a major expansion. He's trying to franchise his studio. He's already lined up several investors, with a final meeting scheduled for next week. I typed back, got it. Give me a meeting with those investors. I need to speak with them. Done. By the way, want me to dig up some of his old dirt? I'm hearing whispers about a few scandals with other married women. No need, I replied. I'm not going to ruin him with rumors. I'm going to do it with the truth. I put down the phone and walked to the window. The city sprawled out below, a glittering tapestry of lights. I had once wanted to give Chloe all of this, to let her live like a queen. Now, I just wanted her to taste the price of betrayal. The next morning, I started making calls to friends in the industry. Meet up tomorrow to talk? Of course. There are a few things I've been meaning to ask you anyway. The president of the National Photographers Association will be there. Even better. Yeah, let's meet at the usual spot. We'll have dinner. After hanging up the last call, I pulled up the live feed from Caleb's studio. He was in the middle of a shoot with another woman. Same suggestive poses, same sweet-talking lines. It seemed he wasn't wasting any time these last 3 days. It didn't matter. This would be his final performance. Soon, Chloe appeared on the screen. She looked haggard, her eyes red and swollen. The moment Caleb saw her, he dismissed everyone else from the room. What's wrong, baby? You look like you've been crying for days, he said, his voice dripping with faux concern. He knows everything. Chloe sobbed. What am I going to do? Don't be afraid. I'm here for you. Caleb pulled her into an embrace. If it comes to it, I'll take care of you. You mean that? She asked, looking up at him. Of course I do. He kissed her forehead. I'm about to franchise my studios. When I do, I'll make you the boss. You'll have a much better life than you do with him. A smile broke through Chloe's tears. You're not just saying that. When have I ever lied to you? Caleb said smoothly. Besides, are you really planning to divorce him? He gave me 3 days to think about it. Perfect. In 3 days, we can be together for real, Caleb grinned. I'll take you to Europe. I know he hates flying, right? We can go wherever we want. Chloe melted into his arms. You're so good to me. I shut down the monitor, a cold smirk on my face. Excellent. Everyone was following my script perfectly. That afternoon, I went to the bank. Mr. Carter, are you certain you want to freeze all the joint accounts? The bank manager asked, his voice hushed and careful. Yes. Freeze everything except my personal business account, I said. That includes the supplementary card I issued to my wife. Very well. We may need you to provide a reason for the record. Marital asset division pending divorce, I stated flatly. After finishing at the bank, I went to my lawyer's office. Landon, this evidence is ironclad, my lawyer said after reviewing the file. If she contests the divorce, we can take her to court and ensure she walks away with nothing. We're not going to court, I said. It's not about the money. He looked at me, confused. I need you to draft a statement for me, I instructed. It will say that I am voluntarily giving up all marital assets, with the exception of one thing. And what's that? My photography studio, I said. She can have the house, the cars, the savings. All of it. Landon, the lawyer hesitated. Are you sure? We're talking about millions of dollars. I'm sure, I said. Get the papers ready as soon as possible. By the time I left his office, it was getting dark. I checked my phone. A text from Kevin. Landon, the investors are confirmed. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. at the grill room. Perfect. Phase 1 could now begin. The next afternoon, I arrived at the restaurant on time. The private dining room was already occupied by 7 or 8 men, all heavy hitters in our industry. Landon, good to see you, they said, rising to greet me. Sorry to keep you waiting, I said with a smile, taking my seat. After some brief pleasantries, I got straight to the point. I asked you all here today to talk about a man named Caleb Hayes. Hayes? That boudoir photographer who's blowing up on Instagram. One of them asked. The very same. I hear he's looking to franchise and has been approaching investors, I said. In fact, I believe several of you at this table have received his proposal. Am I right? A few of them nodded. Then I'm advising you to reconsider, I said. This man is not what he seems. What do you mean? I produced a file from my briefcase. This contains a collection of photos and video clips from his studio. Take a look. The file was passed around the table. Soon, I heard sharp intakes of breath. Is he seducing married women? This is outrageous. He's all over them. And this guy wants to open a chain of studios? He's a disgrace to our profession. I let the outrage build before continuing. It gets worse. He's also involved in blackmail. After the shoots, he uses the photos as leverage to coerce his clients. That son of a bitch. One of them slammed his fist on the table. Someone needs to teach him a lesson. Gentlemen, please, I said calmly. I've already filed a formal complaint with the National Photographers Association. I trust they will handle the matter appropriately. The association president, who was present, spoke up, his voice grim. We will not allow a predator like this to tarnish our industry. I will call an emergency meeting immediately and move to revoke his membership. Thank you, Mr. President, I said. But before that, I have one more favor to ask of you all. Name it, Landon. Please share this information, I said, gesturing to the file. Let as many people as possible know who he really is, so no one else falls into his trap. Consider it done, they all agreed. I raised my glass. Then I thank you all in advance. It was still light out when I left the restaurant. I checked my phone. My social media feeds were already on fire. Breaking. Famous photographer embroiled in scandal. Photo industry predator exposed. Targeted married women. The dirty secret behind boudoir photography. Inside the blackmail ring. It seemed everyone had acted quickly. I sent a text to Kevin. Keep an eye on Caleb's studio. Let me know the second something happens. It didn't take long. Kevin replied. Landon, clients are already showing up at his studio, screaming for refunds. They're demanding a public apology. I texted back. And his response? He's denying everything. Says it was all consensual and part of the business. But what? But at least 3 of his investors have called to pull out. Perfect. Phase 1 was complete. Now I just had to wait for Caleb to get desperate. And when he did, I knew he would run to Chloe for help. And Chloe, I let out a humorless laugh. She was about to find out exactly what kind of man she'd fallen for. That evening, I received the call I was expecting. It was Caleb. Mr. Carter, can we talk? His voice was deferential, all traces of his usual arrogance gone. About what? I asked coldly. You must know what happened today, he said. I'd like a chance to explain, in person. Fine, I said. My studio. Now. Half an hour later, I pushed open the door to my main studio. He was already waiting, his face pale and drawn. Mr. Carter, I know you're angry, he began, but this is all a huge misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I cut him off. Seducing my wife was a misunderstanding. No, that's not what I meant, he stammered. It was Chloe, Miss Sumner, who approached me for the shoot. I was just doing my job, following her instructions. So you're saying my wife seduced you? I sneered. No, that's not it. He wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead. What I mean is, it was all professional. I have absolutely no other feelings for her. Is that so? I took out my phone and played a video. It was the clip of him holding Chloe, promising to take her to Europe. The color drained from his face. Mr. Carter, Save your breath, I said. How do you want to resolve this? He gritted his teeth. What do you want? Money? I can pay you. Money. I laughed. Do I look like I need money? Then what is it you want? He demanded, his voice cracking. Those stories today. Was that you? My investors pulled out. The association is going to expel me. And I'm asking you to call it off. He suddenly dropped to his knees. Please. I know I was wrong. I'll never do it again. I'll give you whatever you want, just don't destroy my career. I looked down at him with utter contempt. You think you deserve a career? A piece of trash who makes a living by preying on other men's wives. I really know I was wrong. He grabbed my leg. Please, just let me go. I kicked him away. You're pathetic. Do you think this makes me want to forgive you? He scrambled backward on the floor, his desperation twisting into a snarl. Then what do you want? If I go down, I'm taking you with me. I have photos of your wife. If those get out. Before he could finish, I lunged forward and drove my fist into his jaw. Are you threatening me? I snarled, grabbing him by the collar. Did you really think I didn't know you were lying? The original files are on your server. I had a hack days ago. His eyes widened in terror. You? How did you? And it's not just the photos, I continued, my voice a low growl. I also have the proof of you blackmailing other women. Should we get the police involved? No, please don't. He went limp, all the fight gone out of him. I was wrong. Please don't call the cops. That depends on what you do next. I let him go. Tomorrow, I want you to stand in front of everyone and confess to everything you've done. What? A press conference, I said. You will detail every single disgusting thing you've done. If you don't, I hand my evidence over to the LAPD. He gritted his teeth, his jaw bruised and swelling. You want to ruin me? Yes, I want to utterly ruin you, I said. But don't worry, I'll give you a way out. What way out? After you confess to everything, You will leave this city, I commanded, and I will never, ever see your face again. He was silent for a long time, the only sound his ragged breathing. Finally, he nodded. Okay, I'll do it. And remember, I said, looking down at him, if you dare to pull any tricks, you'll regret it. With that, I turned and walked away. As I reached the door, I saw Chloe standing there. She had clearly heard our entire conversation. Her face was as white as a sheet. Landon, she stammered, her voice trembling. I didn't even glance at her. I just walked straight past her and out into the night. Behind me, I heard her scream, Caleb, you bastard. You lied to me. A cold smile touched my lips. Perfect. Phase 2 was complete. Now I would just sit back and watch this pathetic pair tear each other apart. The next day, Caleb held the press conference as promised. He stood at a podium, confessing his sins to a room full of reporters. Yes, I admit that I used my professional position to seduce married women. The flashbulbs from the cameras were relentless. I want to apologize for my actions, especially to the women I hurt and to their families. I sat in a dark corner at the back of the room, watching the spectacle unfold. Every word Caleb spoke had been meticulously scripted by my lawyer. Online, the livestream's viewer count climbed past 1 million. The comment section was a torrent of outrage. OMG, so it's all true. And I used to think he was such a gentleman. I feel sick. Good riddance. Scumbags like him should be banned from the industry forever. After the press conference, Caleb Hayes vanished as if he never existed. His studio was shut down by the city, his assets frozen. Overnight, the once celebrated photographer became a social pariah, a target of public scorn. And I was still waiting for one last performance. The doorbell rang. I opened it to find Chloe standing on the threshold, her eyes swollen to the point of being unrecognizable. Landon. She looked at me, her expression pitiful. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She crept into the living room and curled up on the sofa like a wounded animal. I'm sorry. I really, truly know I was wrong. And I asked, my voice flat. Can we please start over? She begged, looking up at me. I swear I will never betray you again. Do you really think that's possible? I said, you betrayed me. Now that Caleb is finished, you come crawling back to me. No, that's not it, she said frantically. I wanted to come back all along. I was just blind. I can't believe I fell for that monster's lies. Then why did you go to him in the first place? I asked. Was I not good enough for you? You were wonderful to me. She cried. I was just so stupid. I let his sweet talk get to me. So you think saying you're sorry just erases everything that happened? No. She slid off the sofa and knelt on the floor. Landon, I'll do whatever you want. Just please give me one more chance. I looked down at her, my heart cold. A chance? I already gave you a chance. Those 3 days I gave you. How did you spend them? Crawling into Caleb's bed every chance you got. She was speechless. You think I don't know? I said, I saw everything you two did in that studio. Every single thing. Her face went ashen. You know everything. Why else do you think Caleb broke so easily? I said, I have evidence of everything you two did. I just chose not to release it. She was shaking violently now. Then why? Why didn't you? Why didn't I make it public? I laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. Because I wanted you to see for yourself what kind of man you'd fallen for. A coward who would sell you out the second things got tough. She broke down completely, her sobs racking her body. I'm sorry. I really know I was wrong. It's too late, I said. Did you sign the divorce papers? No. She lunged forward and grabbed my legs. Landon, I don't want a divorce. I'll do anything. Anything you ask. Anything. I looked down at her. All right, I'll give you one last chance. Her eyes lit up. Really? Go to the airport and make a scene. Make sure Caleb's downfall is a spectacle. I said, and I want to be there to see it. But he's already gone. He's at the airport right now, I said. A flight to London. If you leave now, you can still catch him. Really? She scrambled to her feet. I'll go right now. Wait. I stopped her. Are you sure you want to do this? Of course, she said, her voice filled with a desperate fervor. I want to destroy him, right in front of you. I smiled. Good. Then I'll go with you. When we arrived at the airport, Caleb was just about to go through security. Caleb, Chloe shouted. He turned, and his face fell when he saw us. What are you doing here? I came to say goodbye, Chloe said, her voice dripping with ice. Forever. What? He was stunned. You piece of trash. She suddenly lunged forward and slapped him hard across the face. You lied to me. You said you were going to marry me, and it was all a lie. Heads turned. People started to stare. Caleb clutched his cheek, his face burning with humiliation. Are you crazy? We're in an airport. I want everyone to know what you are, she shrieked, pointing a finger at his face. You love pretending to be a gentleman for the media, don't you? Well, you fooled them all. You're nothing but a monster. A crowd was gathering. People were pulling out their phones. Caleb was frantic. Stop it. You're going to make me miss my flight. Miss your flight. She laughed coldly. You think you're actually going anywhere? With that, she pulled out her phone. Here, let me make you famous all over again. She started a live stream. Hello, everyone. I'm Caleb Hayes' mistress. That's right, the same Caleb Hayes from yesterday's press conference. He doesn't just seduce married women. He's a blackmailer, a fraud, a criminal. Shut up. Caleb lunged for her phone. Get off me, she yelled, dodging him and continuing her broadcast. He keeps photos of all his victims and uses them for threats. Smack. Caleb struck her across the face. You bitch. Are you trying to completely destroy me? The live stream chat exploded. OMG. He hit her. That's his true face. Where's security? Get him. Airport security rushed over and tackled Caleb to the ground. He struggled wildly. Let me go. I have a flight to catch. Chloe held her cheek, tears streaming down her face. Did everyone see that? This is the real him. A predator who preys on married women. The live stream viewers skyrocketed past 2 million. Caleb was completely broken. What do you people want from me? I've already paid the price. I watched it all unfold, a silent observer. She was putting on quite a show, but Chloe didn't know that no matter how well she played her part, she would never earn my forgiveness. I was just here to watch them both burn. I turned and walked away from the crowd. I heard her crying out behind me. Landon, look, I did it. Will you forgive me now? I kept walking and didn't look back. I had never once said I would forgive her. I didn't want her repentance. I wanted them both ruined. The video of the airport incident went viral. Hashtag Caleb Hayes assault was trending on Twitter. Soon, more stories broke. Exclusive. Caleb Hayes threatened ex-girlfriend with revenge porn. Inside the famous photographer's criminal enterprise, blackmail and extortion. Caleb Hayes' former assistant speaks out. He was a monster in a designer suit. Some of the stories were true, some were exaggerated, but it was more than enough to seal his fate. That night, I got a call. Caleb Hayes had been taken into police custody, under investigation for multiple counts of extortion. I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of my hotel room, looking out at the city lights as I sipped a glass of whiskey. The alcohol burned, but it was nothing compared to the bitterness in my soul. My phone buzzed relentlessly with text from Chloe. Landon, did you see? I got revenge for you. You said you'd forgive me, right? Please just text me back. I really know I was wrong. I didn't reply. Then Kevin called. Landon, Caleb confessed at the precinct. He told them everything, including. I don't need to hear it. I cut him off. It's over. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and composed an email. The recipients were the press contacts for every major media outlet in the city. The content was simple, a formal statement announcing my divorce from Chloe Sumner, citing infidelity. She would be leaving the marriage with nothing. After sending the email, I deleted all of my social media accounts. Then I packed a bag and booked the first flight out. Before leaving, I sent one final text to Chloe. Goodbye. Take care of yourself. 12 months later, I had settled in a small coastal town in Northern California. It was quiet, far from the chaos of my old life, a good place to heal. I opened a small photo shop, mostly doing passport photos for the locals and the occasional wedding shoot. The pace of life was slow, and I was starting to enjoy it. One day, an unexpected visitor walked into my shop. It was Kevin. Landon. He began, hesitating. Just Landon is fine now, I said, pouring him a cup of coffee. Took you a while to find me. You didn't exactly leave a forwarding address, he said. What's on your mind, Kevin? He took a deep breath. It's about Chloe. My hand paused. What about her? She killed Caleb Hayes. The coffee cup slipped from my fingers and shattered on the floor. When? A month ago, Kevin said. Caleb was sentenced to 3 years. Chloe paid off some contacts inside the prison to have him beaten so badly he was granted medical parole. She went to visit him in the hospital, used a paring knife. I was silent for a long time. And her, arrested on the spot, he said. They said she didn't resist at all, just smiled and said, finally, I got my revenge. I nodded slowly. I see. You can go now, Kevin. Landon, he started then stopped. Aren't you going to go back? To see her? No, I said. It's all over. After Kevin left, I sat alone in my shop until it was completely dark. Fragments of the past flickered through my mind. The day we met, our first date, our wedding. Every memory was still so vivid. But that life was gone forever. I picked up the camera from my desk, pointed it at my reflection in the dark window, and pressed a shutter. Click. The image captured was a calm face. No sadness, no anger. It was all over. Another 6 months passed. I saw a small article in the local paper. Photographer's murderer sentenced to 15 years. The accompanying photo was Chloe's mugshot. She was gaunt, but there was a strange, unsettling smile on her face. I tossed the newspaper in the trash. That chapter was finally, truly closed. I stepped out of my shop into the bright afternoon sun. A new day was beginning, and it was time for me to begin my new life. The end.